Good afternoon, everybody. What is going on? I am jeffgrantMEDIA. In today's real user review, we will take a look at the Rock Cow Leathers Vintage Wax Canvas Backpack. Now, Rock Cow Leathers did send me this bag as a sample for review, but all the opinions in this video are mine and mine alone. I did not share this content with Rock Cow Leathers prior to publication. They will see this when you do. All right, so we are wrapping up our standard use. We've used it for 3 or 4 weeks now. We've put it through its paces. We've used it for the weekend. We've EDC'd this daily to work. I dad bagged this just a little bit on the first weekend I had it, but I've been EDCing this bag now for the past couple of weeks, 5 days a week, to and from work, digging in and out of this thing every single day. Now, let's go ahead and start by taking a look at the unboxing and what came inside the box.
Now, opening this box for the very first time, I have no idea what bag is inside of it. I told Rock Cow Leather these were the bags that I would be most interested in taking a look at, and they just sent me a surprise. So until you see me actually opening it and laying eyes on the first time, I do not know what I am about to get into. Once we remove it from the plastic, we do see the bag is inside a nice little dust cover, which I do appreciate. And sliding it out, that is the first time I'm seeing the bag and realizing I was sent a wax canvas bag that I do overall like the initial look of. The straps look fine, the back looks fine. Taking a look at the hardware for the first time, seeing that they are magnetic snaps and not mechanical. Checking all of the hardware to see if they are all the same, which I do like that they are all in fact the same type of hardware. Looking down into the bag, I'm seeing we do have a little bit of an admin panel there. That is hard to see because it looks like a black hole, and we also have a laptop sleeve across the back.
Now, as you heard, I did not know what bag I was getting. I kind of just gave them a list. I said, these are some of your bags that I would be interested in taking a look at. Pick one off the list and surprise me, send me a bag. And that's exactly what they did. And this was a surprise. I didn't realize I was going to get the vintage wax canvas bag until I opened the box and saw it for the first time. Now, Rock Cow Leathers did reach out to me. They asked me if I wanted to take a look at some of the bags, so I went to the website, I perused the site, and that's when I gave them the list of some of the bags I would be interested in. Now, one of the reasons I put this bag on the list is, does it look a bit familiar? Have you followed some of my older reviews from like a year ago when I was looking for a backpack that would resemble Joel's bag from The Last of Us? You know, when I started going deep into heritage wear, when I finally broke down and bought my first waxed trucker jacket, when I bought the Huckberry flannel-lined wax trucker, which is the bag that, or the jacket that Pedro Pascal wears in the show, I was on a hunt for a similar bag. Well, this has a very similar look to that bag, which was one of the reasons I put this on my list. Also, I'm deep into wax canvas now. I really, really enjoy it. So wax canvas and leather, both heritage wear, I decided that that was something that I would totally be interested in taking a look at. So that is why this bag made it onto my list. And when they sent it to me, not gonna lie, I wasn't upset about it at all. Okay, so we did our standard using, as I said. I've EDC'd this thing to work. It is currently packed out with my EDC. And I will say, it's holding it well. There is still room in there, but because this bag is breaking in pretty slowly, actually, it's still quite stiff. So getting stuff in and out is a little bit of a hassle, but that just means the bag is actually a little more durable than I had initially thought it was. I thought, okay, it's a thinner canvas, it's gonna break in super quick, it's probably gonna shed some of that wax really, really quickly. And that wasn't the case. It is still quite stiff, and it still has a lot of wax. It doesn't have a super wet feel to it, but I'd say this has like a medium wet feel to it. It's not a dry wax canvas, and it's certainly not a super wet wax canvas, and it has felt just about the same the entire time I've been using it, so it hasn't shed a lot of the wax on the back, which is a good thing, because if you get stuck in the rain, it's going to still continue to keep your stuff dry. Now, while we're talking about the canvas, let's go ahead and do a few of the specs of the bag. Now, the Rock Cow Vintage Wax Canvas Backpack comes in at $129 USD. It is available in army green, dark gray, olive as seen here, and coffee. They do not say the weight of the canvas used on the bag, but they do say that it is made from canvas and leather. It uses YKK zippers, brass hardware, weighs 2.3 pounds, and is 13.3 by 6 by 17 inches in dimensions, which comes out to be about 1,350 cubic inches or roughly 22 liters, which seems to be pretty accurate. When I first packed out the bag before I looked at the specs, I figured this was probably a low to mid 20-liter pack, so I was pretty spot on with my initial assumption of it. Now, let's go ahead and start by telling you a few of the negatives of the bag. Now, one of the negatives is the snaps right here. You can see these are magnetic snaps. So all of the exterior straps, they're all magnetic. Now, I am personally not a fan of the magnetic snaps. I much prefer mechanical straps. These are mechanical though. You can use these to adjust if you need to make the straps a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, so you can adjust the belt on it, but the actual closure is, it's a magnet. Now, I will say I have used a lot of these magnetic snaps on a lot of bags. I've had several Herschel bags, the Little American or whatever, the Little Americana, I don't remember exactly what it's called. I've had a couple of those. That was a very, very famous, very popular bag for a long time. It was kind of like a pop culture bag, and they used these exact same snaps. And I could say the magnetic snaps on those Herschels were absolute garbage. They would never stay. They'd always pop loose. The only Herschel bag I have left is a Herschel knockoff that I bought in London, and they had very sturdy, similar straps. Now, I am wiggling this. I'm putting a little bit of pressure on it too and wiggling it. So these are actually pretty solid magnetic snaps. So even though I am not personally a fan of this type of closure for a bag, as far as these go, these are actually probably the best that I have ever used. So I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on there, and it is staying snapped. Like, I'm wiggling it and pulling, and it's still not coming loose. I do have to put quite a bit of pressure on there or get a little bit of leverage with my thumb to actually make them pop. So even though these are not my preferred method to close a bag, as far as they go, these are the best magnetic snaps that I have ever seen. And the only other negative is more of a point of note. There's a missed opportunity here. If we look at the bag, we do have an opportunity to put liner pockets behind each of these pockets here. They could just simply make these a bit of a floating pocket and put a liner pocket. It just gives you one extra pocket in the bag. So they're not on this bag. These pockets are sewn directly to the main body. So it's more of a point of note. They could have added just a little bit more functionality to the bag without really doing much more work. And honestly, that's it. The bag's been pretty good to use. And then one of the things that I actually really liked about this bag is the actual closure. Usually, when you have some of these waxed bags, they put a very cheap closure on here. Like, they put the plastic pig nose clips, but they have an actual piece of leather that's folded over and riveted, and it holds pretty well. Like, I gotta put some real force on there if I want to force it open or to slide it open. So this actual closure system, even though it is basic and simple, it has been holding and working really well. It's actually keeping the bag closed, and there's enough tension on this little piece of leather that is keeping the bag closed, and it cinches the lid in enough so when the flap is closed, we don't have the bow out. We could probably have just a little bit. It's at the edge. It's tucked under just a little bit, but you can see the top of the bag is also folded over a little bit because it is wax, and it kind of just got pushed over for me opening and closing it so many times. So once we kind of close the flap and situate it, it pulls the lid. The lid completely covers the opening, so we don't have a way for any water to get inside your bag. Because one of the big benefits of a waxed canvas bag is the fact that they are very weather resistant. I won't say waterproof. I think Rock Cow does call this a waterproof bag. I would not call any bag waterproof unless it is submergible. I have had some waterproof bags that are submergible, and I will say, while they are awesome, they are not like an EDC type bag. They are an adventure bag. If you're on a boat, on a kayak, something like that, around water, that's when you need something that's submergible. But for everyday life, something like this is going to be completely good for you. The weather resistance that you're going to get out of a wax canvas bag is going to be really, really good. Now, the straps of this bag, while they are not the thickest, they are actually quite thin. They have been fine for me. I haven't had any issues. They haven't been uncomfortable. This is only about a 22-liter pack, so it's not going to be stuffed with a ton of stuff. I'm not talking like, a 30-plus liter bag. that I'm taking traveling and when I'm putting all of my clothes for like a week into a backpack. So I think that the 20-liter bag, the capacity and the straps is pretty fitting. They're okay. It doesn't, they're not uncomfortable. I would like to see them maybe a little bit thicker, but really they haven't been an issue for me. They've been completely fine. I've worn this over denim jackets. I've worn this over wax canvas jackets. I've worn this over sweatshirts. I've worn this over flannel shirts, and it's been fine. It's fit on everything just fine. Now, one of the other things I would like to mention is that this front pocket, it does have its own 3-dimensional space, but it could be a tiny bit bigger. It works. It fits my my Skin It Solutions pound cakes just fine. And they're actually in there perfect. They're secure in there, but it does have its own 3-dimensional space. When I first got the bag, I did not think that this pocket really had a lot of 3-dimensional space because it was stiff. The wax canvas was kind of pressed in, so it did take a little bit to kind of work them in there, but as I've used the bag, it did kind of pop out and show that it does have a full good 3-dimensional space to it. So it is going to expand outward and not inward towards the main body of the bag. It's going to take up its own space. Now let's go back to the visual appeal that I was talking about earlier when I was talking about the Last of Us bag. Season 2 trailer just recently dropped, so I think we're probably going to see a spike in all things Joel again. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the show. I've watched the season 1 through 2, maybe 3 times at this point, and it was the deciding factor for me to finally buy my first wax jacket, which was, again, the Huckberry wool-lined or flannel-lined wax trucker that Pedro Pascal wears in it, and I went on a search for a very similar bag. I did buy another bag in the past that looked very similar. It was not waxed. I did wax that one on my own, but if you're looking for that particular style of bag that you've seen on a very popular TV show, this is even closer than that other bag that I had, and it is already waxed, and it comes in a couple of different colors. It doesn't come in tan, but it does come in a coffee colorway, so you can get even closer to that Joel backpack if that is what you are looking for. Now, the bag, it functioned as it should. I didn't have any issues. Again, the snaps, even though they weren't my favorite type of closure, they actually hold really, really well, so nothing popped open, nothing fell out of the bag. Now, I have been using this in the fall, so I have not been riding the Ruckus, so I have not taken this on 2 wheels, but I would be confident enough to wear this bag riding the Ruckus to and from work without having anything pop open or fall out, because again, all of these snaps, they stay very, very secure. Everything has been good. The bag has been comfortable enough to wear, even though the straps are a little bit thinner. It's only a 22-liter pack. You're not going to be carrying a ton of weight in it. It is wax canvas, so it's going to keep your stuff dry in the rain. I wouldn't go out in a torrential downpour and stay out there for an extended period of time, because eventually the canvas will wet out and your stuff will get wet. Now, speaking of stuff getting wet, let's show you what I have in the bag that I would not want to get wet in the rain. So if you go to this front pocket here, we have my 2 Skin It Solution pound cakes. Going to one side pocket here, we have one of my Green Room 136. This one is, I don't remember what the tuna tin or the sardine tin is. It's one of the 2. I always forget which one's which. But then on the other side, we have, this one's the tuna tin. This one's the tuna tin, I think. I don't remember. And we also have some cold medicine, because it's that time of the year. And then if we go to the top of the bag, go ahead and feed this through. We have my hat that I wore to work and took off. I have my lavalier mic that I was using for work. A skull cap because it's been kind of chilly. And then we have my tech kit. My, don't know what that is, my old journal and a new one because this one is almost full. My garage built gear admin kit. And fell to the bottom, we have a bandana. And inside the bag, we do have some organization, so before we pull it all out, we'll show you that. We have these 2 liner pockets here where I have these 2 little pouches, first aid kit and odds and ends. And we also have a little admin zipper here where if I open that up, really hard to do one-handed. Slowly but surely we are getting there. I have a couple things, pens, pencils, creams for eczema, and then across the back of the bag we do have a laptop sleeve where in there I have my tablet and some paperwork. So there we can see my complete loadout, what I carry inside this bag on the daily. So what do I think of the Rock Cow Leather's vintage wax canvas backpack? And honestly, it's not that bad. Now, I have been a big advocate of the buy once, cry once. I've been going more for the expensive heritage stuff because I know after using some of these brands, the durability is there. These are things that you can buy and will last you for a lifetime. But I understand that some of these products, they cost a lot of money and they are out of a lot of people's price range. A lot of the things that I review, if I weren't sent these as samples, they're out of my price range. So sometimes something in the $100 to $125 range is something that will fit better into someone's price range. Now, do I think this is a $129 backpack? And I think that price point might be a little bit too high. I'd say this is like $75 all day, $100 good price. I'd say it's like $75 to $100 backpack. It's got pretty good quality. Now, another thing that I used to talk about all the time is you don't have to buy name brand stuff. Sometimes when you're buying name brand, you're just paying for the name. You're paying for the brand name. Like if you're buying a pair of Levi's, you're paying for the name. Especially the Levi's you'll buy today, there is zero quality behind those jeans, so you're only paying for the Levi's name. You're not paying for quality materials. So sometimes you got to take a chance on something you've never heard of. I had never heard of Rock Cow until they reached out to me, and I went on a deep dive last year trying to find a very similar bag, and I couldn't find them. So when they reached out to me and I saw a couple of their offerings, some of their bags look pretty good. I did not have any of their full leather bags, so I can't speak to how good a quality leather they use, but I can say that this wax canvas bag, while I don't know where the canvas is made or the weight of the canvas, I'd say it feels to be probably, it's lined, so it's a little bit thicker, it's lined back. I'd say it feels to be probably around a 10 ounce canvas, 10 ounce wax canvas. It's probably something that started as like a 7 or 8 ounce and comes in closer to a 10 after it's waxed. But it feels pretty good. I mean, the leather is not the best, which is one of the reasons I'm putting it down more in that like $75 to $100 range. And it does have snap closures, which honestly, I think if they just added some bar tacking, a little bit better leather, they could probably keep it at that price point, eliminate the magnetic clips, and then I would say this would be a $129 bag all day long if they remove the magnetic snaps and just use a little bit heavier quality leather and bar tack them in there and use those as mechanical closures. I would say all day long $129. But I'm not a fan of mechanic closures, but again, as I've seen, these are probably, if not the best magnetic closures that I have seen on a bag, and I've had them on a lot of bags. And I'm gonna go ahead and say again, the Herschel magnetic closures, absolute garbage. The ones on the Rock Cow leather bag, pretty damn good. They're holding well. I'm using a lot of pressure to actually open them up. So it's an okay bag. I mean, I would say if you got $100 and you see them on sale, it's not a bad price. You should snag it. It's a quality bag. I think this is going to last you several years. I don't think this is a lifetime bag, but I think that this will last you several years. So yeah, I do think it's a decent product. It might be a little bit overpriced, but they did put a fair amount of quality into it. The wax is really good. I thought this was going to break in super fast and become real pliable and shed a lot of its wax, but it has not done that. You can see it stands up on its own, no problem. It has a lot of structure to it. And it's working well. I didn't get caught in any like torrential downpours, a little sprinkle here or there, and it shed the water off just fine. And even after 3-4 weeks of use, it still looks pretty much brand new. So that's a pretty good testament that I can beat the hell out of this bag for a couple of weeks, and it still looks like it just came out of the box. And these magnetic straps, they're still holding strong. Usually something like that might work really good for like a couple days, maybe a week, but it starts losing its capacity to do its job pretty quickly. But they're still holding up pretty good, and altogether, I think it's an okay bag. I mean, again, a little overpriced, $100 bag. I could definitely see that price range. But if you're looking at the Rock Cow leather bag, it's not a bag product. I mean, I know not everyone can afford like a $400, $500, $600 backpack. I can't afford $400, $500, $600 backpacks. So this is something that would fit in a sweet spot of someone's price range, especially if they're looking for a particular style, like I think is going to happen again very soon once season 2 finally comes out. Check out that trailer. It's a great show. I love it. Never played the game though. But I think it's an okay product. And yeah, I think it's going to last. I would say this would probably last 5 years to 10 years maybe, depending upon how you treat it. If you re-wax it, yeah, definitely get like 5, maybe 10 years out of this bag if you treat it good. Don't beat the hell out of them the way I treat backpacks. But I test them. That's what I do. So I test them to extreme limits, and that's not something the normal person would do. I put like several months worth of wear on a bag in like 3 to 4 weeks. So don't wear a bag the way I wear a bag. Wear a bag the way you wear a bag, and it's going to last you a lot longer. So with that, if you like this video or any of my other videos, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Smash that big red button and ring that bell right next to it so you get notifications next time I post a brand new video. Good night.